Labor's vote in the Victorian state by-election seat of Werribee has seen the Liberals increase its numbers for the first time in 15 years. That was in Prahran in the inner city. The collapse of the Labor vote in the traditional Labor heartland in Werribee will also be rattling federal Labor MPs. Well, joining me live now is Victorian Opposition Leader Brad Battin. Brad, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you coming on the program this morning. Are you viewing this as a strong start to your leadership, or does the only 4% swing to the Liberals in Werribee show that you have some more work to do?
Yeah, good morning, Kenny. It's great to be here. I would think we'd take a bit of both from both camps, but it's actually a really strong team effort. We've been working as a team to resolve a lot of problems, and I think the reflection in this is people are moving away from Labor. We've still got some work to prove us as the alternative government. So that work we will do over the next 18 to 20 months to ensure that we can put our policies forward, discuss the things that are important to Victoria. We've been on the ground listening, and we know that they're really interested in what's happening and very concerned about crime. They're concerned about the increase in taxes and how it's impacting the cost of living. And over in the West, they're particularly concerned they've been neglected for so long, and all of a sudden the Allen Labor government's found their voice when it came to a by-election. We promise we'll be the voice for them all the time.
Yeah, how much did youth crime contribute to the result we saw over the weekend?
Yeah, I think it's not just youth crime, it was crime overall, Kenny, and you compare it to the both, but the images on TV were quite dramatic, particularly in an area like Chapel Street, which is traditionally a place which we call a tourist hotspot, became the focus of the elections when we had a person running down the street with a machete. Everybody's hearing about machete crime, knife crime, aggravated burglaries. But when you get images like that that are so strong, that the whole community then starts to go, well, hold on, that is really a problem. This is a place that I used to go and buy, boutique handbags, really fine fashion for people. They love their shopping in that local community. And if you walk down there now, it's deserted. There's so many businesses are gone, and that's the impact of the confidence in the area, which started because the fact that the government let crime get out of control.
The Greens blamed low voter turnout and the flow of preferences for the loss. What's your response to that?
I actually say to all leaders of parties, stop trying to blame everybody else when things go right or wrong. And as I've said already in Werribee, we'll end up with just a 4% swing to us. I'll take responsibility to ensure that we can deliver the policies that are important for people so they can treat us an alternative government. On one side, you've got the Greens who are trying to blame Labor for their failures. They've been working together for such a long period of time, you can't really blame the other party. Jacinta Allen and her team are now trying to blame just the SRL as the biggest issue. And I see a team of her group have come out now saying, we're going to ask her to pause the project because we want to save our seats. Whereas what they should be saying is we want to pause the project because it's in the best interest of Victorians. So Victorians are looking for a government that is interested in them and not talking about themselves. We've started that process under my leadership to ensure that Victorians can trust that we are here for them, and we won't be thinking just about our members of parliament. We're thinking about the communities they represent and the candidates who we want to put forward in the future.
In Prahran, do you think the anti-Semitic attacks in Melbourne combined with the Greens' pro-Palestine views and support played a role?
Yeah, 100%. When the anti-Semitic views going through the state, but particularly in Prahran and the surrounding areas in Caulfield and St Kilda, we're seeing it just too often. And I think people are starting to say, well, obviously enough is enough. When they start putting Nazi symbols and signs on flyers and posters, when we've seen obviously the attack with the firebomb terrorist attack here in our own state, it genuinely concerns everybody. And I kind of also get sick of the fact when we talk about it as governments of putting a wall around a school and allowing a school to have armed guards at the front of the school to protect their children. What we need to be doing is talking about how do we make the areas safe so parents can send their kids to school, whether you're Jewish, Muslim, Catholic, Anglican, no religion at all. You should be able to say goodbye to your child at the door and know they're going to get to school safe. And the problem is, because we've allowed this to fester so long, the Jewish community just don't feel that. So we need to make sure that they feel safe in a state that welcomes them.
And just finally, do you think after this result you will be campaigning against Jacinta Allen in 2026? Can she survive as Premier?
I'll leave that decision to her own party. But what I will say is obviously they're already starting to undermine her. We saw it last week with Anthony Carbines, who wouldn't even confirm there was a review into bail and said he had all the answers in his bottom drawer. And we said if they're in the bottom drawer, bring them out and let's solve the crime issues. But I think it's a problem for her in her own party room. But I believe, there's possibility it could be her, it could be Ben Carroll, but it doesn't matter which minister or which person on her party is leading their party. They're all involved with the decisions that have been made. They've continuously voted for the SRL. They've all voted to weaken bail laws and they've all voted to increase taxes on Victorians. So whoever puts their hand up will go to the election with what our alternatives are rather than talking about them.